When angels are mentioned, we all imagine beings with magnificent wings, bodies of pure light, secretly working for humanity's good, loyal servants of the Creator, standing at the highest ranks of divine hierarchy. But what if everything billions believe about angels is a carefully crafted illusion? What if, buried deep in the forgotten chapters of history, angels descended to earth not to help us, but to control us, and eventually to wage war against their own Creator? What if the story of Harut and Marut is merely a whisper of a far darker truth? We're embarking on a journey into the shadows of history, unraveling the secrets of beings known throughout time as the Watchers. Understanding them isn't just fascinating, it's essential to comprehending our very place in creation. Why? Because these angels were sent by the Creator Himself to be humanity's guardians on earth. With the emergence of the Torah and the spread of the Book of Enoch in pre-Christian times, the first believers in Abrahamic religions encountered a terrifying description of the ancient past: the Watchers. The Book of Enoch, said to be written by Prophet Enoch, Noah's grandfather in the ages before the Great Flood, contains chilling information about the world before the catastrophe. These revelations left traces in both the Torah and the Quran. Prophet Enoch reveals events from the earliest stages of creation. While humanity struggled to survive on earth, a group of celestial beings called Watchers were assigned to observe them. But then something went horribly wrong. As humanity multiplied, these Watchers became captivated by human beauty. And it came to pass when men began to multiply that daughters were born to them. The Watchers, the sons of God, saw the daughters of men and were pleased with them. Each chose a wife, united with them, and had children. The book tells of Samyaza, the angel commanding the Watchers, and how 200 angelic beings under his leadership would defy the Creator's command and unleash catastrophe upon humanity. Samyaza said to them, "I fear you will not do this, and I alone will bear this great sin." They all answered, "Let us swear binding oaths to each other, so we do not abandon this intention." Then all 200 came together and bound themselves with sacred oaths. They descended to the summit of Mount Hermon in the days of Jared. Mount Hermon, a 2,814-meter peak at the intersection of Israel, Lebanon, and Syria, became ground zero. This was where angels set their eyes on human women, where they would commit their first sin by disobeying God's command. The mountain has been called evil ever since. Throughout history, mysterious temples were built in specific regions where this event allegedly occurred. Local legends speak of a rock formation called the Devil's Throne, said to be where these angels sat. A cave known as the Gate of Heaven is described as a passage angels used to travel between worlds. Most of the mountain is now inaccessible. Why? Because the United Nations Golan Observation Force has established a base there. The UN Observation Force, stationed on the very mountain where Watcher angels are said to have descended. Quite the coincidence, isn't it? After the cursed oath on Mount Hermon, the Watcher angels, whose duty was merely to observe and report, began taking human wives, having children, and establishing a new order on earth. Years passed, and these angels began teaching their spouses and the Nephilim, their offspring, celestial sciences, normally forbidden to share with humanity. The Book of Enoch details this precisely. Azazel taught humans to make swords, knives, shields, breastplates, the art of war. He taught women about jewelry, ornaments, cosmetics, and how to enhance their beauty. Great injustice was done. People sinned, and all their ways were corrupted. Shemazai taught spells and root cutting. Armoros taught counterspells. Barakel taught astrology. Kokabel taught the constellations. Ezekiel taught knowledge of clouds. Arakiel taught the signs of the earth. Shamziel taught the signs of the sun. Sariel taught the lunar cycles. Now here's something crucial to remember. The being we call the Creator supposedly has observer angels reporting to him. Yet these angels go rogue, having sexual relations with humans, starting families, and teaching them celestial sciences, essentially advanced technology, breaking the ultimate prohibition. And God still doesn't know what's happening. Don't forget this detail. A similar pattern will repeat throughout the books Abrahamic religions call sacred. The Nephilim, children of these angels, gained tremendous power over primitive humans thanks to their superior physical attributes and the celestial knowledge learned from their fathers. They began to exploit humanity ruthlessly. The women gave birth to giants whose height reached 3,000 cubits. These giants consumed everything humans produced. When people could no longer feed them, the giants turned on humanity and began devouring humans themselves. They slaughtered birds, livestock, reptiles, fish, everything that flies in the sky and walks on the ground. They even ate each other's flesh and drank blood. The earth became soaked in crime and injustice because of these giants. Azazel had taught humanity warfare, metallurgy, and weaponry. The world had fundamentally changed. How many years passed during these events? It's unclear. But considering these beings were immortal and Prophet Enoch, who lived for hundreds of years, existed during this time, we can estimate that angels ruled Earth unchecked for thousands of years. Finally, after years of torture and chaos for humanity, 4 great angels discovered what was happening on Earth and immediately reported it to God. In those days, the 4 great angels, Michael, Uriel, Raphael, and Gabriel, looked up to heaven and said, "The voice of blood on earth has risen to the doorstep of heaven. The spirits cry out, complaining before you about the deeds of sinners." They entered God's great kingdom and said, "Lord God, God of all creation, you see what these sinful beings have done, how great their crimes are. And God, the great King sitting on his throne in heaven, heard the complaints of the sinners and souls. He looked upon the earth and saw that everything was corrupt. All flesh had become corrupt. God grew angry and decided to destroy them from the face of the earth." Enoch tried mediating between the fallen angels on earth and God. He even describes being taken from earth to heaven in a vehicle, passing through a gate of fire, arriving instantaneously before God's presence. But God told Enoch no agreement would be made. The entire world would be destroyed. We brought condemnation against the Watchers and their allies. Bring a flood upon the children of the Watchers and drown them in great waters. Set them against each other to fight until they're all killed, and the earth is cleansed. The Watchers' children and their collaborators would have their souls condemned and chained forever. Uriel informed Enoch's grandson Noah of the approaching flood, warning him to prepare and take shelter. Go to Lamech's son and tell him to hide himself, for I am bringing a flood upon the whole earth to destroy everything. The angels who taught forbidden knowledge to humanity will be judged, put in chains, and cast into the great depths, along with their generations to remain until the day of judgment. After the catastrophic war and the flood's destruction, the Watchers became known by a new name, fallen angels. God chained Shemazai and the other Watchers in hell until Judgment Day. But he was especially furious with Azazel for teaching humanity forbidden sciences. As the ultimate punishment, God chained him to a special pit in the middle of the desert, keeping him alive as a prisoner to serve his sentence until Judgment Day. Does this sound familiar? Azazel teaching secret knowledge to humans and being chained in the desert as punishment. Yes, this is the famous story of Harut and Marut. Now our journey takes us from the book of Enoch to investigate the secrets in Abrahamic religious texts. You'll see how they're all pieces of one grand puzzle. I particularly appreciate how Abrahamic religions explain this subject. It differs from Enoch's first-hand narrative and beautifully shows us how post-flood humanity deified these pre-flood beings. The Torah states, "When men began to multiply on earth and daughters were born to them, the Bene Elohim, sons of God, saw the daughters of men and chose them as wives. In those days and afterward, when the sons of God had children with human women, there were Nephilim, giants, on earth. These were the heroes and famous men of ancient times." Notice the differences. While Enoch specifically mentioned Watcher angels, the Torah calls them Bene Elohim, sons of God, or divine lineage. The true creator has been quietly written out of the story, and the Nephilim, technologically advanced hybrid beings, are presented as heroes of the past. I'm not talking about 3 to 5 Nephilim here. Humanity lived like this for thousands of years. Most likely legendary kings and heroes like Gilgamesh were Nephilim. When we reach the Quran, this dark chapter of the past is mentioned with minimal detail. Their brother Noah said to them, "Will you not fear disobeying Allah? I am a trustworthy messenger to you. Fear Allah and obey me. I ask no reward from you. Only the Lord of the worlds will reward me." When Noah's warnings were ignored, God destroyed his people with a flood and commanded Noah to build an ark. When our command came and the oven overflowed, we said to Noah, "Load into the ship a pair of each species, your family, except those against whom judgment has been passed, and those who believe." Very few believed with him. Here's a critical point. If you read only the Quran's account, you might think the flood affected only Noah's region in Mesopotamia. Then a question arises. If only Noah's people sinned, why did God flood the entire world? Isn't that excessive? You must combine the Torah, Book of Enoch, and other texts to understand. The corruption was global. Watcher angels and their Nephilim sons governed all humanity across the planet, working with them and ruling them. That's why the flood cleansed the entire world. There's no direct mention of Nephilim or fallen angels in the Quran, but indirect clues exist. For example, many Muslims believe angels are created from light and have no free will, and that this is written in the Quran. This is completely wrong. The Quran doesn't say what angels were created from, nor does it say they lack free will. In fact, combining different verses reveals that angels see a physical God before them and physically carry out his orders. We created you, then gave you shape and form. Then we commanded the angels to prostrate before Adam. They all prostrated, except Iblis, Satan. He refused. Your Lord revealed to the angels, I am with you. Strengthen the believers. I will cast terror into the hearts of disbelievers. Strike their necks. Cut off their fingertips. We only send angels with true purpose and wisdom. When angels descend, no respite is given. Destruction is immediate. These and hundreds of similar verses show us why God constantly sends angels to handle his affairs. The verses repeatedly mention angels' absolute obedience to Allah and their fear of him. Every creature and angel in the heavens and earth prostrates to Allah without arrogance. They do what they are commanded, fearing those above them. Those who carry the throne and those around it glorify their Lord, believe in him, and ask forgiveness for believers. Remember, the throne is a king's throne as we know it. The clearest Quranic information about our subject appears in Surah Baqarah, telling the story of two angels called Harut and Marut. They misused the sublime knowledge revealed through two angels in Babylon, Harut and Marut, teaching it to people. However, those angels would say, we are only a test. Do not become unbelievers. They wouldn't teach anyone unless they warned, do not use magic and sorcery to cover the truth of the revelation we brought from God. The Quran doesn't explicitly state Harut and Marut's punishment, but Islamic tradition says these two angels were imprisoned in a hole in the desert until the end of time because they spread forbidden knowledge in Babylon. Sound familiar? Just like Azazel's punishment. While the Quran discusses giants before humanity, it doesn't directly mention watcher angels or Nephilim. Instead, it speaks of jinn, a different advanced race, and devils, shayatin, as a group, generally doing evil, led by Iblis, the devil. Some Islamic researchers define these pre-flood advanced races mentioned in the Torah and Book of Enoch as demons or jinn. They believe humans are called caliphs, successors, because we replaced a predecessor civilization, possibly the jinn. The word jinn has an extremely broad meaning. You can apply it to anything, metaphysical souls of fire, or even an alien race, since jinn means foreigner or not from here. That's why it's difficult narrowing the concept to one specific race in this story. When we combine all texts and books, we see the same pattern. The God, Lord, Creator, whatever his name, who appears in flood narratives, becomes angry with humanity and resets the world by putting it underwater. Sources beyond the Quran state this incident was caused by a massive problem in the celestial hierarchy. Beings called angels, responsible for watching over us, began mating with us, living among us, and sharing information forbidden to give humanity. So God, Allah the Lord, grew furious, declared war on them, and destroyed us all with the flood. Although deep details aren't given in the Quran, verses support other texts, showing us angels are part of a hierarchical celestial order, acting like soldiers carrying out massacres and destruction under Allah's command. Like the Book of Enoch and Torah, the Quran shows God managing this system from his throne. Somewhere in the sky, as we understand it. In Enoch's book, angels clearly present reports to God. Without these reports, God in those texts has no knowledge of events. Why does this happen? It's extremely open to interpretation. Let's meet in the comments. We're curious about your thoughts. And remember, some doors, once opened, cannot be closed again. Some knowledge should not be learned. Some names should never be spoken.